Hi, I'm Kistrin Kaikonen-Cozier, and I'm here today on behalf of MALT Community Television in Marin County, California, at the beautiful Toluma Farms to tell you a story about our Earth. This year we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Earth Day was first observed on April 22, 1970. I remember the 70s well. I grew up in Sonoma County where there were a lot of old hippies, people who were very much into organic food, against nuclear power plants, against chemicals, very much for the earth, for the animals, for the redwood trees. Let's now fast forward 50 years. It's 2020, and folks are realizing that the old hippies of the 70s were on the right track. Forests have been disappearing from the face of our planet at an extremely alarming rate. The Union of Concerned Scientists estimates that an area the size of Switzerland, roughly 15,000 square miles or 38,000 square kilometers, is lost to deforestation every year. Over the past 25 years, the country of Uganda has lost 63% of its forests. Now you may think that's on the other side of the world, but think about it. What happens on the other side of the world happens here, happens everywhere, and happens to everyone. Our Earth rotates. It's a living, breathing organism. And it takes only a little over 1 year for the air that we're breathing right now to go all the way around the Earth. Same is said for the carbon dioxide and other pollutants in the air. We're all in this together, and we must all do our part to heal our planet. It's time to plant a tree, a seed, a remedy to heal. Today we are lucky enough to meet some great people involved with the Marin Agricultural Land Trust, otherwise known as MALT, which, by the way, was the very first agricultural land trust in our nation. They've invited us to visit them at the Toluma Farms in Tomales to see what they've been doing locally to counteract the carbon dioxide in the air through what is now commonly referred to as carbon farming. MALT has been diligently working for 40 years to protect our farmland and hold it in perpetuity, forever ensuring the land will not be developed and will remain as vast open spaces for agriculture, trees, animals, domesticated and the indigenous wild. Today we get to visit MALT as a core group of volunteers plants trees to form a windbreak.
My name is Jameson Watts. I am the Executive Director of Marin Agricultural Land Trust. I've been at MALT for 7 years. Carbon farming is basically a way to manage the land, and more specifically plants, in a way that removes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which is a greenhouse gas, and stores it in the ground as another source of carbon that stays locked in the ground for decades. And the way that this is accomplished is through a natural process called photosynthesis, which I think we all kind of understand a little bit about, but basically photosynthesis is a process by which plants take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and with energy from the sun and nutrients from the ground and water, convert that into energy which it uses for plant growth. And as the plant grows, both above ground and below the ground, carbon in the form of organic matter is stored there long term. So through agricultural practices, there are ways that we can accelerate the rate of photosynthesis and increase the rate at which carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere. MALT was the first organization in the country created specifically to protect farmland from subdivision and development. So in the 70s, and even before that in the 60s, there was widespread concern that farmland would be lost to development. In 1980, two women came together and formed a broad coalition of ranchers and environmentalists that changed the face of Marin forever. Since that time, MALT has worked with 86 families to protect over 54,000 acres of farmland in Marin. That's over half of all the privately owned, agriculturally zoned land in the county. And as the first agricultural land trust in the nation, MALT has been a model for other land trusts around the country. And there are now hundreds of agricultural land trusts that are using MALT's model or something close to it. So in addition to protecting the land from subdivision development, we've acted as a catalyst to support sustainable agricultural practices that are also agriculturally and economically viable.
Hi, my name is Tamara Hicks, and I am one of the owners with my husband of Toluma Farms and Tomales Farmstead Creamery, where we are right now. 160 acres in the beautiful town of Tomales. We have 200 goats and 80 sheep, and this is our 10-year anniversary with having our property in a trust with Marin Agricultural Land Trust. Everything that you see right now can look like this in 100 years or 200 years, and especially stay in agriculture usage in perpetuity. It's very important to us, and we want to see generations to come be able to grow good, healthy food here, and to keep this food shed, and to make sure it's beneficial for our planet.
My name is Jonathan Wachter. I'm the conservation planner at the Marin Agricultural Land Trust. So today we're out here planting a big windbreak at Toluma Farms. It's going to be about a quarter-mile in length. And windbreaks you'll see all around the county. You'll see historic windbreaks that were planted 50 or 100 years ago. Today we're planting new windbreaks that are different in a few important ways. One of the big ones being that we're planting entirely native species to try to provide habitat for wildlife and for pollinators in the area. We're also planting windbreaks with the goal of sequestering carbon on these ranch lands. And this windbreak today is being supported by a couple of really great partners. Funding is being provided by the State Coastal Conservancy and the Marin Resource Conservation District, as well as the California State Healthy Soils Program. And MALT is playing its role helping to plan the project and also providing some additional funding to really make the project happen. So we're really excited to be able to carry out this project to achieve benefits for the landscape, for wildlife, but also for the ranch and for the local community.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Gilman here at Toluma Farms. I am the new farm manager. I started here January 1st, so I'm still pretty new. This project here is actually one of the first times I've interacted with this part of the property, and it's absolutely beautiful. I have really been loving working here at Toluma Farms, not only because I get to work hands-on with the animals, but because we're doing projects like this, where we're really building something for the future, taking care of the environment and being community-minded. It's so much more than just the animals, though this whole project, this windbreak project, is going to benefit our animals so much in the long run by providing additional shelter, shade, also windbreak for the rest of the property, which will allow our animals to have a better quality of life as well as giving back to our environment.
So the reason we're out here planting a windbreak today is that we are carrying out part of this ranch carbon farm plan, and so these windbreaks were identified as really impactful projects that this ranch could do to both sequester carbon but also accomplish a few other really impactful outcomes. So clearly, as you grow woody plants, you're sequestering a lot of carbon in the trunks of those trees. But we're also providing wildlife habitat out in this landscape, and we're also playing a very important role in blocking wind and helping to protect the downwind pasture, which will give protection to the livestock, but it will also make that pasture more productive in years to come by helping retain more water in the soil and helping keep the pastures greener later into the year.
Hi, I'm Alison. I'm here with a lot of other volunteers. We're on Toluma Farms in Tomales. It's a sheep and goat dairy. They make wonderful cheese, but we're here planting a windbreak for conservation and carbon sequestration, and part of it is to help the soil, help the plants grow more, to sequester carbon from the air and into the ground. And I am a MALT volunteer, Marin Agricultural Land Trust. I've been a volunteer for a number of years. I love MALT. They help keep farmers and ranchers on their property, on their ranches, and will keep it in agriculture forever. And that's what we need right now.
I'm Jennifer Morehouse, and I'm volunteering with MALT as well. And I think Alison really explained most of the purpose behind why we're here today. But I'm here primarily because I think working on projects that are helping sequester carbon is one of the most impactful things we can do, and one of the most important ways we can help combat climate change. And so MALT and Toluma Farms are doing amazing work, so I'm here to support that and do what I can to combat climate change.
My name is Richard James. I live in Inverness, and I also learned today that it's important to keep the wind off the land because it reduces the evaporation, to keep the moisture on the land so that the grass grows longer and it's better for the land. Okay, so what we're doing is we're bending this wire into cylinders to act as deer guards, because we're going to be planting several hundred bushes and trees to make a windbreak and for other purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these wires and just bend them in. Right, we want to make a thing that's kind of friendly to us and to any animals that might bump into it. So we're just going to bend, yeah, you got it, like that. Then here, I'm going to set it down on the ground. Yeah, you're good. All right, then I'm going to go like this. All right, and now you just one square. Right, I line up that last square, and on the end, I go kind of nuts, really tight, and then really tight, and now I've anchored it. And so, do you want to do that one on the end? And here, like, get the pokey things on the inside, get that one square to line up. Here, wait, hang on, let go for a sec. Get that, see that square? All right, so now that last barb, yeah.
Put it inside first?
Either one, right? So one tight one around that way, and now, yes, exactly. And then go around again. And again, keep going, and now point it inward, all the way around inward. Boom, you're done. Then I'll just come in like that's good. And then like every fourth one, I'll just come in, and I'm just gonna do a single, just like that. And then I'll skip that, and I'll go single.
So you said this is if they use it again.
Yeah, so the reason we're not finishing these so tight is it makes it easier to disassemble. That's what it was suggested to me.
As we look for solutions to the climate crisis. Agriculture plays a really important role. Agricultural soils can sequester tremendous amounts of carbon if we manage those soils correctly. And vegetation like trees can also sequester a huge amount of carbon, again, if they're managed correctly. And in doing all of those things, it turns out we can also achieve other outcomes. It can be economically profitable, it can be good for communities, it can be good for the environment more generally. So all of those motivators are really behind these carbon farm plans that we help write with ranchers.
MALT's vision for Marin is a thriving agricultural community in a healthy and diverse natural environment. And the way we accomplish that is by protecting Marin's farmland for agricultural use. One of the things that's helped us the most over the last 5 or 6 years has been a core-cent sales tax that was approved by Marin County voters in 2012 called Measure A. And Measure A has generated funding for the preservation and protection of Marin's parks, open spaces, and farmland. And in an effort to reach our goal of 100,000 acres by 2040, it's been a very important funding source for us as we move forward. In order for MALT to accomplish its mission and vision, there are really 4 things that are required: farmland, farming, and farmers. For farmland, our goal is to protect 100,000 acres in total by 2040. We're at 56,000 acres right now, so we have another 46,000 to go. And in order for us to accomplish that, we need everybody in Marin to help us out by becoming more involved, both in supporting us financially and with ballot measures that may support our mission. Farming is all about farming practices and carbon farming. Practices that are regenerative in nature and sustainable in nature, that both are profitable to the landowner and that increase the environmental sustainability of that ranch and ecological health. And then finally, farmers. 50, 100 years from now, there need to be farmers and ranchers, people who are passionate and able to farm and ranch this land and keep it going. And that requires a strong community. So MALT is committed to those 3 things: farmland preservation, sustainable farming practices that are profitable long-term, and a sustainable community of farmers and ranchers to keep this thing going long after we're all gone. So one of the things I'm most proud of at MALT is just this amazing community that we're all a part of. It takes all of our partners, our agency partners, it takes our supporters, our landowners, our incredible staff, and our very talented board to make this work. And so for me to work with this group of people, this community, to advance this amazing mission of protecting Marin's farmland for agricultural use forever is just brings me a lot of pride.
The reason I love working for MALT is that we get to work with all sorts of great ranchers and find projects that really help the land and help the ranching business and help the community. And to me, that's just one of the most rewarding things that I think I could be doing.
I suppose at heart, I'm really just an old hippie too. Born in the 60s, grew up in the 70s, maybe even a tree hugger, and that's a good thing. I hope this story inspires you to go out and plant as well and help in our journey to heal this planet together.